When they talk about taking the bumper off, they say that there's three 10 millimeters right here. And I've been struggling for like an hour to get this crap off of here. So, what you have to do is, after you remove all of these screws, you have to reach your hand way up in here, and your hand's getting cut by the rubber and everything. And then you have to put a ratchet up there and slowly take them off. And I swear it's going to take me like 4 hours to do this. So they say the only easy way possibly to do this easier is to take off the tire and take off the inner trim here, wheel well trim, and then maybe you can reach it a bit easier. But when I look at all the videos, everyone just leaves the tire on, so I think that's about the best you can do. But I think in their videos they're leaving off like hours of time when they have to remove these bolts. But geez, man, is such a bitch. So the Whelen micros are inside the headlight, and I'm trying to do this with one hand, but here's the box. Get the light in here. Here's the box right here, and it had torque screws, and then once I removed it, there's a hole that they had right there. There's a hole that they had siliconed up, and so I put fresh silicone on there so it won't leak into the headlight if there's water. But just to remove those, this is if you have the factory option where the headlights are pre-drilled and everything for you, and so it has a nice plate to put your micron inside the headlight. But if you don't have that, you have to drill into this, and it's not quite as clean, so I'm happy that they had this pre-drilled as one of the options. So after you get the bumper off, here is the 3 bolts that are the nightmare of our times. 3 10-inch bolts. You have to jam your hand up in there, and on one side I had to use my right hand, and one side I had to use my left hand, and I'm left-handed, and I actually found the right hand was easier to do. Left hand I was really struggling. But the hardest one to get to is this one at the very end. You have to reach way up there with your hand, and then there's no room to turn a wrench at all, and so it's like, it's seriously bad design. If you could come at it from the top, which I swear there's a forum post that says it's possible, but be much easier. But yeah, it took like freaking 2 hours to do that. So when you want to take off the headlights, you look at the top of the engine and you think, oh, I'll just take off this one and this one, and then you think, oh, it'll magically come out. But instead you have to take the whole front off, and there's still this one, and then there's a 12 hidden right here. Let's see if I can get it lined up. Both my light, yeah, so right at the edge of the light there's a 12 that you have to have the whole bumper off to finally get this thing, and then finally your light will come free. But if you want to replace your light or something, that's how much of a pain it is. Take the whole front off and all these bolts just to get to your headlights. But you can still replace various bulbs and stuff just from the top. But if you want to do anything more complicated than that, that's the amount of work that's involved. So here's what it looks like with the light still in it. So what I do is I unscrew all of those with the torque bit, and then pull this out, and then the light is attached to this plastic plate, and then remove it, and then put some silicone so it doesn't leak into the headlight. Here's what the Whelen micron looks like, or ion. Whelen ion. Here's what it looks like. It's the This one's red, and once you pull this plate out of the headlight, here's how it's mounted. And so that's pretty cool. So you can swap it and then plug it right back into your headlight if you have that option. What's really made this job of taking the bumper on and off has been discovering that I had a very, very tiny ratchet. So you're trying to jam your hand up inside the wheel well and turn 3 10mm bolts. There we go. Way up in here, and I was using like a much larger ratchet, but once I switched to the very, very tiny one, it's like so much easier. So that's really the key, I would say. Smaller ratchet, huge tip. The other tip when you're working down here to get those bolts undone or redone, turn the sockets with your fingers once you get your fingers up there, to either loosen as much as you can or tighten as much as you can before you have to turn the ratchet itself. That really helps out.